Hey there, I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate.
And today we're taking a look at Planetoid by Portal Dragon.
Planetoid is a game in which you are going to be mining for special rocks on the moon. This is a game that is got a unique setup to it and a unique look on the table, as you're going to have lots of little holes in the board where you're putting in little tokens and you're not sure what are on the underside of those tokens. And so you are going to be picking up these tokens blindly, or at least maybe having a little bit of knowledge as to what they are. This has got some set collection in it, some action selection. Let's take a look at it down below, and then we'll come back and share thoughts on it as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, here's Planetoid. Let me show you guys how this game works and a couple of areas that you might want to know when teaching with non-gamers, and show you a little bit of the box insert. So this is going to be an action selection game in which you are mining different minerals from the moon here, and you are going to be trying to get some set collections so you can get some bonus points over here, fulfilling end-game goals and trying to be the person with the most points. There are two ways you can play this game. There's the basic rule set here, which you're going to play on this side of the board, and then on the other side of the board you are going to have your more advanced rules. So let me show you how a turn is going to work. You're going to have the board set up here, and these little tokens are going to go face down on these slots, and you can see I can press down on them because this is a dual layer board. And on your turn, you are going to select one of three actions. You've got the scan and charge action here, which lets you scan 2 tiles and add 1 energy to the batteries. You've got your drill, which allows you to drill 1 tile, revealing adjacent tiles that are face down. And then you've got your ship action. So in more detail, scan and charge here. So these are going to be the 5 different types of resources. They're going to be randomly placed out here face down. And so when you scan, you are simply going to take a look at what is underneath 2 tiles, and look at that, I found a diamond, which is the rarest mineral in the game. It's worth 5 points there. Now I secretly get to look at this, and then I place it back face down, and then I could look at another one if I wanted to, and there's some gold. It's worth 2 points at the end of the game. Now I also get an energy. I take this energy and I get to place it in my energy slot right here, which is going to allow me to take these auxiliary actions after my main action. And you can see this is a dual layered board. I can press down on these tokens and easily get them out of these slots. That is the scan and charge. The drill action, I'm simply going to drill 1 tile, which if I remember that this was a diamond, I will drill it and I will take that. And then I'm going to reveal any adjacent tiles in the cardinal directions anyhow, and flip them over if they were face down. So the theory, or the theme behind this, and there's another diamond, wow. The theming behind this is that when I drill into the moon, I'm revealing the stuff that's around it, because drilling is not a clean process. So I drill this, and it's going to go right here on my player board. I've got room to hold 4 minerals, and only 4. And to get them off of that board, I'm going to need to take the ship action. This is going to allow me to remove up to 4. I can remove as many as I want over here, and just set them in my scoring area like so. When I do that, if I have the set for one of these tiles over here, and you're going to have 8 of these randomly selected at the beginning of the game, then you get to claim that tile. So for instance, let's say I happen to have had these 3 elements here, minerals here. I had a rock, I had gold, and I had emeralds. Then I could claim this, and it's going to be worth 3 points at the end of the game, and I would just set that over here. That's the basic actions. You can take, as I mentioned, auxiliary actions, spending a battery to do so. Your auxiliary actions on the basic side of the board are going to allow you to scan 2 additional tiles, or after you take the drilling tile, you can drill an adjacent mineral to the space where you drilled for your main action. And there you can see the resource stats in the middle. There are 80 total tiles, and you can see how they're distributed. Now that's the basic game. Let's flip this over, and you will get to see how the advanced side works. Now it's pretty much all the same types of actions. They're just going to be divided up in a little different ways. At the beginning of every turn, you're going to get 3 free energy that is coming from your solar power, your solar panels. And you're going to use that energy to pay to take whatever actions you can afford. And you can take more than one action. You can take as many as you can afford. So you might want to drill, which is just going to allow you to take one tile and reveal all the adjacent tiles. Or you might want to spend extra to do precision drill, which lets you take one tile and not reveal the adjacent tiles. If you want to do any of the actions that are on the bottom row there, as you can see, you're not only going to have to pay the cost, but you're going to have to take a damage token. So your other type of token in this game is a big red X, and you're just simply going to place that on top of the action that you take, because these are heavy actions and they're going to damage your equipment when you take them. The only way you can get that off your board is to do a repair action, which is over here on the utility side. And when you do that, you just simply choose one of your X's to remove, and now you can take that action again throughout the course of the game. The last action that you probably want to know on this side of the board is going to be the return and refit action here. It says move any amount of stored resources. That's going to be the things that you slot up here on the top, your transport action. And then install one new system. So over here on this side of the board, I've got the 4 different systems that you have in the game. You've got your drill system, your scan system, your transport system, and your utility system. Those all match the 4 different columns on your board here. And you're going to choose one of the ones on the tops of the stacks here. Say I want this auxiliary or utility system, the auxiliary drill. And I would just simply slide that underneath that column for my board, and now I can choose to do this action on my turn, paying the cost, and so on and so forth. That's pretty much it. That's the only differences between the main version. You do have, like I mentioned, in-game goals that you are trying to achieve. You'll get 2 of these dealt to you, and you will score whichever one gives you the most points. There are going to be there's going to be awards for whoever has the most on each type of element that they have shipped off, getting the points listed on the bottom of the token. The game is going to end when there are no more face-down tiles on the board, that they've all either been revealed or been drilled up and taken off. The other way that the game can end is if all of these set collection tokens have been captured, taken, which again, there's going to be 8 of those. That's the 2 ways the game can end, and whoever has the most points is going to be the winner in this one. Now let's take a look at some of the things that you want to know whenever you are playing with a non-gamer. First of all, I would recommend holding off on this until you have played this at least once, or maybe gone over it in some detail, maybe play a round or 2 in this so that they get the idea of what this game is about, and then you can quickly graduate to the more advanced side, as I don't feel like this is too much more complex than the basic version of the game. The other thing I would have you take note is that these bottom rows do cause damage, which you do want to know, because you cannot take that action again until you do the repair action. Make sure that they understand that they have to take the repair action to take the damage off. And then also do remind them of this return and refit, as it can be easy to forget and pass over, and then you will not be getting to upgrade your board as the game progresses. That's pretty much it. Let's take a look at some of the insert. And so as you can see, the player boards are going to go in side by side, followed with the components and baggies with the circular board on top of that. And then you have your rule book on top of everything else. And there you have it. That is Planetoid. Let's go back up top and share our thoughts on this game as a gamer and non-gamer. All right, we're back, and now we're going to share our thoughts on Planetoid as a gamer and non-gamer while you check out some gameplay footage of a 2-player game between Sam and I. So Sam, what did you think about this one?
When it was first set up, I think I was a little, I don't know if overwhelmed's the word, but just it looked like a lot, and it was all black and white, and it just seemed very... I don't know. It seems like a more complicated game than it ended up being.
Yeah. You look at it, and it's got, to me, the word that comes to my mind is a mechanical feel to it. And what I mean by that is like machine-like. Like I need to know what this does here to be able to do that over there. And it did. It seemed like there was a lot going on. However, looks can be deceiving, and I think they absolutely are with this game, because although you have 12 different actions that you can select if you're playing the advanced version of this game. by and large, they're pretty easy to understand.
Yeah.
You get one round into this, and you pretty much understand what's going on in this game, or at least I felt that way. What was it like for you getting into this?
Yeah, I would agree as well. You know, when you're first explaining everything, and you have to pick
your actions,
and then you have to kind of plan your next moves. It's a little much at the beginning, but then after one round, you really kind of see it playing out, and this is a very visual game too.
Yes,
so I think that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Visual with your own player board, visual with the main board, the moon, where the rocks and elements are as they start to become unveiled, and you see what's available, and it's a bit of a race to try and pick that up to complete your set so that you can get the bonus, the shipment bonus. There's a lot with this game that just sort of feels smooth process. One thing leads to another, which leads to another kind of experience. So it's easy, in my opinion, it's really easy to get into this, and quite honestly, the advanced version of this game doesn't really feel too complicated or too heavy. So much so, Sam, and I want to know your thoughts on this, that playing the basic version of this game might feel too light. Like it's almost not enough. I think we talked
about that when we were playing it. I think that the light version just did not. But I think it would be good for very new beginners or younger players as well. So I think it gives you options.
And I love that when a game has that built into it, that you can play at a very easy, streamlined, some might say watered down, that's kind of a harsh way to put it, but version of the heavier game to kind of ease into it. I love that.
But
and this game has that.
I think if you have the time and you have a reluctant non-gamer that you're really trying to play, I think that's the best way to do it. Hey, let's just try it. Once they get a hang of that, say, okay, would you like to up it up a bit?
And the good thing about this is that the part that is more basic and streamlined is your player board, your action selection, not the moon part with the rocks and the elements and the set collection. That is all the same, and that is really where you're getting your points, is from the moon and the different rocks and stuff. It's just the action selection that's different.
Yeah.
And once you feel like you and your non-gamer have a good handle on that, then you can kind of move up into the more advanced version of this game and start really making choices as far as, well, now when I want to drill, do I want to just drill the basic drill, or do I want to do the mega drill and risk damaging equipment and such? So those are some good choices, I feel like.
Yeah.
So Sam, you as a non-gamer trying to figure out strategy-wise and really how you're going to get a lot of points in this game, I get the feeling from you that this was all very intuitive and easy to pick up.
Yeah, it was nice having that, your action board right in front of you. You could really see it.
Yeah.
Again, it was very visual, and I think that helps with some of these games. They can be so in your head that it's hard to visualize what you're doing. And I think with this one, with the board the way it is, it made it easier. I don't think I utilized all the actions. There were some actions that I really never used.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think we talked about that when we played it as well. There's just some that seemed to cost a little too much for what they did, but you started to get the hang of which ones were worth it. So what did you need to be able to do those actions?
Yeah, I totally will agree with that there's definitely some actions that you are going to be using a whole lot more than others, and some that you might not even use the entire game.
Yeah.
Let's get into our pros and cons on this one, Sam. What were the things that you really enjoyed about Planetoid?
I mean, it's a pretty easy game. I enjoyed the visual aspect of it. It does look a little overwhelming at first, so I guess that's a con. But as you get into it, it's a pretty smooth playing game.
Yeah, I will agree with that. One thing that you've mentioned in other games, Sam, and I want to know if maybe you feel that way with this one, is that this is a game in which the points you get aren't so clearly visible to everyone. There's not a score track that goes around the board, and so you don't really have a visual sense of whether you're 30 points behind everybody else and you're out of the game.
I can't say enough how important I believe that is for a non-gamer. I think if they are constantly reminded of being behind the other players, are going to give up quicker. I do that. If I know that Lance is beating me, I'm just not as into it anymore. But if that's kind of a not secret, but it's not so visual. You really aren't sure unless you're really looking over there trying to count their points.
You're just memorizing how many points.
I think you're going to go harder and really try to win till the end, and that competition makes it more enjoyable, I believe.
Yeah. Another thing I want to throw out there too, folks, is that you can get points on every turn of the game, just about every turn of the game, which is a rewarding experience. It doesn't have to feel like I've got to have this gigantic overall super smart strategy to get all these points, and it's going to take me 3/4 of the game to make it happen. This is a game where I can pick up tokens and get points here and there. There might not be a lot. Some turns you might get more than others, but at least I'm getting something every turn, and that can kind of keep your non-gamer, your casual gamer invested in the game. So what doesn't work well for you with this one?
I think what I said earlier about some of the actions, I believe they just cost a little too much for what they did. I can't remember specifics, but there was a couple that you just ended up not ever using. And so
I'll agree with that.
If there could be a little bit more variety in the actions, but I mean, that's really nitpicking it, because in general, the ones that you do use work well.
Yeah, I will definitely agree with that. For me, I think one of the things that I felt about this game, it is an overall enjoyable experience. It feels like it's missing just a little bit of something. And what I mean with it is that it doesn't need a whole lot more. If there was maybe an expansion or a different module that added a new type of rock to the game, or added like something negative, like I want to stay away from that. Just a little bit of something, some interaction amongst the players, perhaps. That would add a little bit more spice to the game. It almost
felt like you were building up to something that didn't ever quite
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for me, this is one that works really well for non-gamers. It's one that you're intuitive and you're going to pick up on really quick. It's one that you've got some excellent classic set collection mechanics built into it. What it does well. It's just not going to be a huge home run for you, I don't feel like, for a lot of people necessarily. Scale of 1 to 10, what do you give this one?
I think I'd give it a solid 7.
Okay.
I think it's a good game. It's enjoyable. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in fact, Sam and I, we don't talk about our scores before we do our videos. And I was going to say 7.2. So I think we're kind of right in the same ballpark. This is a game that I'm going to enjoy playing most of the time when I get it out on the table. It's going to be one that I'll be willing to sit down and play with folks and teach them and let them see what it's all about. Like we've mentioned, there's just a little bit more, a little bit something, and maybe there could be an expansion on down the road that adds that, and that would just kind of, raise this game to the next level. So that is Planetoid from Portal Dragon. Go check it out.
Make sure to like and subscribe and push that bell button so you get notifications of all our new content.
I'm Lance.
I'm Sam.
And we are Love to Hate, where we try to bridge the gap between gamers and non-gamers. We'll catch you next time.